Good afternoon. These notes are on distance of points on a coordinate plane. So let's go ahead and get started. This is page 45 in your notebook. So pretty much if points lie in the same quadrant, all you're going to do is just subtract. However, if they lie in different quadrants, it pretty much means that their signs are going to be the opposite. So what you can do is you can add their absolute value. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay, so we're going to look at these 2 points right here, -4, 3, and -4, -1. So that's -4, 3, and -4, -1. I want to count the distance here. If I didn't have a coordinate plane, I could do this in my head, but since I have one, I can actually count it and prove it. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 spaces away. So the distance is 4, right? Now, what we can do is we can look at, so -4, -4, those means that that they're going to be vertically on top of each other because their x values are the same. So let's look here. Since those are opposite, since they're different quadrants, what we're going to do is we're going to add their absolute value. So the absolute value of 3 is 3, the absolute value of -1 is 1, and 3 plus 1 gives me 4. So we did absolute value of 3 plus the absolute value of -1, and we got 4. So that's how we did it for that problem, okay? It seems kind of weird. I pretty much just think about like a number line. How far away is 3 and -1 from each other? 4 spaces, so then it's just 4. Distance is always positive, so just remember that. All right, here we've got the point 2, 1, and 2, 5. We know they're both in quadrant 1 because they're both positive, positive. So here's 2, 1, and here's 2, 5. So the distance here, since they're in the same quadrant, we can just subtract. Okay, what's different are the y values. So 1 minus 5 gives me 4, or sorry, -4, but remember distance is always positive, so we know that the distance is just going to be 4. So these were in the same quadrant, so we just subtract. The the coordinate points that were different, and then we can find their distance. Okay. All right, down here, it's just a lot more practice. Just the more practice we do is kind of like a basketball skill, soccer skill. The more you practice, the better you get. Right here, little below P is your origin. So I just wanted to draw that for you because this graph is kind of teeny tiny, and it's hard to see some of the numbers. They do label 5, -5 for you on both axes. So just kind of use that to your advantage. So E and G. So E and G are right here. They're in the same coordinate or the same quadrant, so I can just subtract or I can just count. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the difference is 5. A and I. A is right here. I is all the way down here. So I can add their absolute values. So A is all the way up, well, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So A is 9, I is -2, 9 plus the absolute value of -2 is 11. So then I get 11. And you can even count them just to be sure if you'd like. All right, J and B. J is, where is J? J is right here. And B is all the way up here. So it's kind of very similar to A and I. So we're going to just count the difference, but we're going to use the absolute value of them. So we're going to add their absolute value. So J is 2 spaces away. B looks like it's 9 spaces away, just like A was. So this is 9 and 2, which gives me 11. H and K, here's H and K down here. So they're again in different quadrants, so I'm going to add their absolute value. So this is 1, 2, 3, that's 4. That's 1, 2, so 4 and 2, add them together and you get 6. Okay? Pretty easy. Moving on. M and L. So here's L and here's M. M is on the axis, so that actually makes it kind of easy, so just count from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they are 4 spaces away from each other. And notice again how all my distances are positive. Distance is a vector, and vectors are positive. All right, D and H. H is right here. D is all the way up here, so let's count D. 1, 2, 3, 4. So D is 4. H was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 plus 4 gives me 12. All right, next is C and K. So C is right here. K is all the way down here. They're in the same quadrant. They're in quadrant 3. So we're just going to count their distance because we could just subtract them from each other. So that's 2. 1, 2, 3. That's 8. So 8 minus 2 gives me 6. Or you can just count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So their distance is 6. And then G and C. G is here. C is all the way down here. G looks like it's at 9. And C looks like it's at 2, which then gives me 11. All right. Down here, without using a graph, find the distance between the 2 points. So again, we're going to look at which ones are the same. Okay, so the y values are the same, so we're going to look at the x values. They are the same sign, so therefore we just find the difference. Well, 7 to 11 is 4 spaces, so the answer would just be 4. All right, here the x values are the same, so we're going to look at the y values. To get from 4 all the way down to negative 8, we'd have to travel 12 spaces, and it's going to be positive 12. Because remember, you take the absolute value of 4, which is 4, take the absolute value of 8, negative 8, which is 8, and 4 plus 8 gives you 12. Here, the same values are the negative 10, which are our y values, so we're going to look at our x values. The distance between 8 and 5 is 3. Here, I notice that my x values are the same, so I'm going to look at my y values. I'm going from negative 6 all the way up to positive 5. The distance from negative 6 all the way to positive 5 is 11. Here, my x values are the same, so I'm going to look at my y values. I'm going from 2 to negative 4. So the absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value of negative 4 is 4. I'm going to add them together, and that gives me 6. So their distance was 6. Here, my y values are the same, so I'm going to look at my x values. To get from 1 to negative 3, I would have to go down 4, so my distance would be 4. And remember, distance is always positive because it's a vector. All right, now we're going to do 2 problems. So it says total distance from 7, negative 2 to 7, 4, and then from that to 5, 4. All right, so these are the same. So we're going to find the distance here, which is 6. And then from here to here is 2. So our total distance is 8. Total distance, so the y values are the same, so we're going to look at the x values. That's a distance of 6, because negative 4 to 2 is 6. And then the x values are the same, so we're going to look at the y values. From 5 to 3 is 2. And then 6 plus 2 gives me 8. Okay, so that's just kind of working with distance. If you go on the inside, it's just a lot more practice, so just practice. How about this, so that you don't have to do so many? You can just do the evens. So evens is enough for me. If you want to do all of them just to kind of practice more, you can. So just evens is enough for me. And then this other side, that's just extra practice if you want to do some more of that. Okay? All right, and just make sure if you have any questions, just comment down at the bottom or ask tomorrow in class. All right, have a great afternoon.